On this week's edition of Stop and Smell the Roses, is it bandwagon or barn? We'll find out who fits where.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Stop and Smell My Roses. I'm Michelle Yu. That's Woodrow, my dog that's barking in case you heard that. And this is brought to you by MyRoses. In case you haven't joined us before, we're going to talk about the Derby preps from last week and preview the ones up and coming. Also, as we're getting closer to the Kentucky Derby, I've got my trusty dusty bandwagon that we can talk about. And just to update all you guys, I got the injury barn here as well. So all that's good and we'll move on, but let's talk about what happened this last weekend. Rock Your World is kind of the forefront of my mind, right? Maybe it's just because I'm left coast biased, but I thought his race in the Santa Anita Derby was chef's kiss. He broke from Dental on the inside. He was kind of hustled up by Rispoli. And then also Medina Spirit set on the outside and Parnelli was in between. And they kind of wanted to go to, Parnelli was under a hold and they just let Rock Your World go. I don't know if they just thought he was a turf horse. They thought that he couldn't sustain the fractions that he put up because they were legitimate. Let me tell you what. But not only did he go to the front, but around the turn, Rispoli was like, I know how to win this early move, which is what he is kind of been patenting out here. I thought it looked great, so he snuck away. All of a sudden he was open by 2, and then down the lane they just weren't going to catch him. He looked fantastic finishing up. Now he did swap leads late, and you could actually watch him go down. So he's on his left. He swaps right, which is good, and then Rispoli is kind of working on him right-handed, and you see he swaps back left, but he stays straight. So I felt like this was a little bit of greenness that can easily be corrected, and it could have just been because he was getting flagged right-handed. I didn't think that was that big of a problem. For me, the biggest disappointment was obviously Medina Spirit, who I've had firmly in my bandwagon. I can say that he's probably only in my bandwagon right now. Everyone else has just chucked him out. I love the fact that he's just tenacious. Maybe he didn't get as good of a shot here. Again, he wanted to sit off and let a horse go up. Maybe he wants to be on the lead. I don't know, but I like a horse that can throw down an eyeball-to-eyeball duel, and that's still him. So I'm not going to jump off him completely yet, although he has not disappointed me in back-to-back races. So Rock Your World, I think that that's going to be, for sure, everybody right here in the bandwagon, right? Now, I did talk to Costa Horonas this week, and even though they're like, oh, he's a turf horse trying dirt, he pretty much said all along they thought this horse would run on the dirt, but when he was ready to run a race, the dirt races weren't going for him, so they ran him on the turf, and then John Sadler said, hey, let's go ahead and run him back into Pasadena. Santa Anita Derby had always been a stepping stone for him, and I am happy to report that it all worked out for them because the Horonases, or the Horoni as I like to call them, are some of the best people in racing, and they're pretty awesome to get to have a Derby contender for the first time for them. So bandwagon, Rock Your World, I think everyone can agree on that. It was also the Bluegrass Stakes out at Keeneland, where your 2-year-old champion, Essential Quality, yes, I'm getting his name right every time now, was victorious. Now, last week I kind of told you if he didn't win by 5, I was going to be a little disappointed in him. He didn't win by 5, but he actually did kind of throw down in the lane. Highly motivated, went to the front, and Essential Quality sat right outside him and just kind of waited. I'll tell you what the winning move was. Is when they came down the stretch, they were like this, right? Where's my horses? Here we go. Okay. They were like this, down the lane. And he didn't want to go by. He was totally hanging on Highly Motivated. And thank goodness, Luis Saez said, get off. And he unstuck him from the side of Highly Motivated. And then he was able to go on and win the race. So I think that he got a lot out of that race, which is my biggest concern, is this horse had never been in a duel. Now, he showed that he can overcome a duel, which is something that you'll need going into the Kentucky Derby. He also showed that he might just be a little bit more workmanlike, and that's why he hasn't been just as dazzling as maybe I'm just me that wants him to be more dazzling. And I think that he overcame a little bit of a rough start, so I liked that effort from Essential Quality, and he's allowed to remain in the bandwagon as well. Finally, the third race on the Kentucky Derby Trail was the Wood Memorial, and this race I really liked Wayburn. He broke okay. He sat right outside the pace, but then he had no answer late. I'll tell you what, the horse that won the race, you didn't even see him. All the other horses were here. Well, let's see. We're backwards. All the other horses were here. He was 10, 12 lengths back. If in the middle of the race, you offered wagering and you were like, okay, so the half went in 50. Do you think the horse in last is going to jump up and win? I would say No, not even close. I would have backed any bet against that. But down the lane, within like 3 strides of the wire, all of a sudden Bourbonic got up for the victory over his stablemate. It was a Todd Pletcher exacted there. He was 72-1. And by the way, extra huge kudos for the race call there. That was an amazing race call, even though you didn't call Bourbonic right till the end. It was super thrilling, called the right horse on the wire. So I thought that was super cool. This is a horse that actually broke his maiden for $50,000. All these horses, like, okay, there was maximum security for 16. I feel like every year we could probably buy a Kentucky Derby winner almost in a claiming race, or at least a Kentucky Derby contender, and that would have been this one. So he went on from maiden claiming, he won a starter. He couldn't win an allowance, and this was his stakes debut. And I mean, kick-ass ride, because they just sat there chilly as can be along the back. I mean, Kendrick wasn't even worried that they were going like glacial pace up in front of him. He just kind of chilled, and made that one run. So really exciting race for Bourbonic, and it's just Todd Pletcher's world, and we're allowed to hang out in it every now and then. Todd Pletcher has been red hot. Okay, so the Derby bandwagon right here. We definitely have Rock Your World and Essential Quality. I'm almost going to guarantee that after this weekend, everyone's going to be on concert tour, right? And for some reason, everyone likes Rombauer. I mean, you can hang out there. He's not going to be at my bandwagon, but I keep hearing people talking about Rombauer. I mean, I don't really get it. He got kind of a perfect trip. He still wasn't able to finish in the Bluegrass. His stakes race that he won recently was the El Camino Real Derby, and no offense to it, but it's on synthetic. And I just don't get it. A lot of people talking about him, and I just can't wait till we're going to start hearing about Obesos, because I just know that is coming pretty soon. I did also promise you the injury report, right? So we already know life is good. There he is with his little wounded leg. So he's on the sidelines for sure. Unfortunately, it was announced today that Greatest Honor, he's also in the injury barn. He needs like 60 days. So both those guys, they're going to come back and race, but no Kentucky Derby for them. And also Rebels Romance. He's not injured. They didn't even think he's going to come to the Derby, but I'm going to stick him on the other side. He's not injured, right? This is just the, we're not coming to the Kentucky Derby barn right here. This is the shipping to Belmont. So they're going to think Belmont for him. But now you're updated on who's not in the starting gate. Coming up this weekend, it's going to be the Arkansas Derby. So it's the big one that we've all been waiting for. It's concert tour coming back, and it's going to be Caddo River. Can he rebound from the Southwest? Well, in case you don't remember, I did tell everybody.
Concert tour, and everybody I think is going to be a groupie of this horse. Even Bob Baffert last week when I talked to him and I was like, I love Medina Spirit. He's like, you're crazy. It's all about concert tour. So I'm sure everyone's looking at him, but can Caddo River rebound? Now, if you remember, I tried to tell everybody how to beat a Bob Baffert horse, right? But I sent a letter, I sent a carrier pigeon, I wrote a t-shirt that said it, and no one listened. So I wrote a poem because maybe Florent will like that. So here's my poem. Do not let the West Coast go loose on the lead. They will beat you to the finish, indeed. Even with 2, they will not stop. They have trained for this, to race every drop. Head to head and eye to eye. That's the regiment of the white-haired guy. And don't count out the little one. If allowed to, he can gun. From the inside, you need to send. And even then, I'm not convinced that you cannot upset Concert Tour or his stablemate Hosier. But heed my word or taste sure defeat. The West on the lead will not be beat. So maybe this time they'll know. If Caddo River has a chance to upset Concert Tour, he's going to have to send. He's down along the inside, got her numbers outside of him. Concert Tour's outside of that, which gives him absolute tactical advantage. But that's going to be his shot, right? He doesn't win so far if he hasn't been on the lead. So we'll see if anyone heeds my advice or if Concert Tour just goes up and makes a mockery of the Arkansas Derby, which Bob Baffert will be waiting for the 75th and 198th time. So that was a recap from last week. That's looking forward to next week. And hopefully you'll join me here as we stop and smell the roses.